Hey guys, David here. Not the great start that I was hoping for, but I thought I'd just come on and have a quick chat anyway. I don't think I'm going to be able to do all the wonderful slides and things that I'd planned to do, but let's see how we get on with this. What I'm going to do in parallel while I'm chatting is just start the thing that had all the slides, and we'll see what we can do with that. But I thought it'd be good to come on anyway. Thank you for those of you that actually did join up, and for those of you that have been patiently waiting for me to get the tech working, where I've absolutely failed once again. So more work for me to do. Welcome everybody. I'm David. I'm the host of Disney for Brits. I also run D4B Travel, and I need to remember to look up there because that's you and that's me. Welcome to the Disney for Brits studio. You'll see this is my little room where I keep all my Disney memorabilia, cabinets full of stuff there, lots of things there and loads of things over there, and you can't see everything else around. What you'll also see is I'm being looked over by Jack here in the corner, a little bit dark, but I guess he's happy there. He'll just flame on at some point. So what I was planning to talk to you about was three things. Number one, before you go to Disney, what you need to plan. Number two, once you've booked. And then number three, ask me anything. Now, for Ask Me Anything, I may not have lots of people watching because I've sort of said go away, but we'll see if any questions come up anyway. So number one, before you book, there's a whole load of things you need to think about before you actually book your holiday. I'm just going to do something to check that my sound is working. Yes, it is. I've got a little monitor down here so I can see what's going on there. So before you actually book, you need to think about a whole load of things. Now, I'm going to see if there's anything that I can click which will let me share my screen with you. And this is literally live. And the answer is no. So you're just, what's that one do? Share the live stream to Facebook. Okay, you're just going to have me talking to you. So let's start off with a number of things. Number one, when to go. There's a number of times throughout the year that are great times to go, but one of the things to consider is the weather. The weather in Florida is completely different to ours. Now, had I had my great tool that would be showing all this to you, I'd show you first of all the UK weather. Now, the UK weather, our hottest is colder than Florida's lowest. Let's try that again. Florida's coolest weather is still warmer than our hottest. So there's your starting point. It's never going to be any cooler than the UK. That was a year or so ago. Now I know from friends in Florida, they're getting frosts and all kinds of things. So maybe that's another rule that's gone out of the window because of global warming and everything else. But one thing is for sure, July, August, back end of June are going to be really hot. And we're talking about 40 degrees, so 95 to 100 degrees. Not great for kids. And I know that coincides with school holidays in July and August. So that's not great. Humidity is really high at that time of year as well. So I always say to clients that book through me at D4B Travel, ding, name drop, try and go in May or October if you possibly can. Now, there's normally some school holidays there, and maybe you can plug on an extra week to make it a 2-week holiday at that time of year. So I always recommend May and October. The other thing to bear in mind is the rain. Florida actually has more rain than the UK. And again, I'd have a super little graph to show you, but I'm not going to. You're just going to have me talking to you. So you have to believe me. It has more rain than the UK. But, and here's the difference, we get drizzle. Florida generally doesn't get drizzle. They don't have days where it doesn't stop, just drizzling all the time. They get big downbursts of water, downbursts of rain, and then it stops. And because of the heat, it dries up really quickly. So it's really unusual to get long outbursts and long days of rain. As with everything, health warning, you might do. I can't control the weather. I can't control lots of things. The weather's one of them I can't do. So bear in mind that you may well get wet. So what you do is you plan for it. And there are some great apps out there. We use AccuWeather, which gives to the minute timing of when it's going to rain. And it's pretty good. We've done things where we've gone, actually, it says it's going to rain in 5 minutes. We're just going to change into our flip-flops, put on our waterproofs, which we bought before we went to save some money. And then the rain comes. And actually, in Walt Disney World, the rain's a really good thing because most people don't plan for it and most people don't like it. And if you get an hour of rain on your app, it tells you there's an hour of rain. Happy days, because that means loads of people are going to go home because they didn't bring their waterproofs, they didn't bring their flip-flops, and they didn't plan for the rain. So rain in Florida is a good thing. Not only does it make the grass green, it makes the people leave the parks. So check your weather apps, check to see what the weather's going to be like, and don't stress. Now, there are some times where you do need to stress. Florida is prone September, October, November to hurricanes and to tornadoes and to storms. And I've had a number of flights where they've been cancelled and delayed by a day because of storms and weather. Again, you can't control it. Again, you can't plan for it. So what you have to do is be prepared for it. Keep an eye on the weather. If it's too dangerous to fly, your airline will say, we're not flying. And then that's it. You'll fly the next day when things have calmed down. It's even goes so far as saying having localized weather. At one point, we've flown into, I think it was Fort Lauderdale, and sat on the apron there at the airport for an hour before we hopped back over to Orlando because there was really, really heavy rain around Orlando. So it's that bad. It can close an airport, but only for an hour. So before you go, think about when you're going to go. My recommendation is always May and October. I did November last year. Back end of November, crazy busy. It's all of the celebratory days in America and the parks are packed. So back end of November, avoid. Christmas period, the week before Christmas and the week after Christmas, unless you want to be there for Christmas, avoid. When you start getting into January, January's quite cool, November's quite cool, and so is December. So don't expect great tropical temperatures in November through to January. Again, normally. So, number one, weather. Number two, where are you going to stay? And now Florida and Orlando has tens of thousands of hotels at varying levels and scales, from the Waldorf Astoria at one end of the scale to travel inns, travel lodges, premier inns. I think they have those, quality inns, all of those. So before you think about where you're going to stay, number one, you need to think about whether it's Disney or not. Now, I always recommend people stay on site at Disney. I recommend it because it's a much more immersive experience. If you're the driver like me, hey, you get time off driving because the lovely Disney bus drivers do it for you and other transport options are open to you. It's going to cost you a little bit more money, but in my experience, it's worth it. And certainly if you're a family with kids, waking up to see a 50-foot Buzz Lightyear outside your window, or seeing Slinky Dog, or seeing the cars from Cars, or the Lion King, or the Little Mermaid, it's a whole more immersive. Now, I'm very conscious that budgets are always a challenge. So again, let's be really clear. Going to Disney will never be a cheap holiday. For most people, it's a once in a lifetime thing. And I would always recommend people put some money away and try and stay at a Disney resort if you can. It's going to be a better experience for you. It's going to be more immersive. It is going to be more money. You'd be paying about £100 to £160 a night staying at some of the value resorts. And Disney resorts are in three grades: value, moderate, deluxe. At the value end of the scale, pretty much they're massive motels where you've got outdoor rooms which you go in from a 3 or 4 story block, thousands of rooms in blocks in a big complex, but nicely themed, very well looked after. You've got the Disney cast members, really, really cool pools with theming all around them, and definitely something to think about as a place to go. So all-star music, all-star movie, all-star sports are the low end of the scale. Again, really good resorts. If you've got a kid that loves sports, put them in the all-star sports. All-star movies is great as well. And music has got calypso and reggae and jazz, and all really, really cool, large places to see. You've then got the next level, which is Pop Century and Art of Animation. Pop Century is pretty much the same kind of price as the All-Star Resorts. Art of Animation, always more expensive. It's much more immersively themed. It's got some great pools. It has family suites, which are effectively 2 rooms joined together. So the parents and the kids can have their own space, and there's a mini kitchen, a kitchenette, and somewhere to eat. But these are on the Skyliner. Now, the Skyliner is Disney's Highway in the Sky, which is effectively a cable car. It's a cable car that can take you from your resort to 2 parks. So if you're staying at Art of Animation or Pop Century, and they are literally opposite each other, and there's a bridge between them, on that bridge is the Skyliner, and the Skyliner will take you to 2 parks. It will take you to Hollywood Studios, and it will take you to Epcot. Hollywood Studios, you go in the front entrance. Epcot, you go in the back entrance. So you are in prime position to go right, straight into France, and straight onto Ratatouille, which is one of Walt Disney World's newest rides. Because of this, they're more expensive, and you're looking at £150 to £200 a night, for which are fairly basic rooms, but you're paying for location. Next level up after that are moderate resorts. Moderate resorts are a little bit more upscale. In the value resorts, you will only have what they call a quick serve restaurant, which is take your tray, get your food, go and sit down and eat it. A table service restaurant in Walt Disney World, you'll find those at the moderate resorts and above. And here you are going up a level in theming and the whole environment. Caribbean Beach Resort is a great one to go to. That's also on the Skyliner. So guess what? It's more expensive than the others. If you want, in my opinion, the smallest but one of the nicest resorts to stay at is Port Orleans French Quarter. Moderate resort, beautiful pools, right on the river, so you can hop on a boat that can take you into Disney Springs, but not a great big sprawling resort. So everything's really close together. If you've got mobility issues, or if you don't want to spend a lot of time walking, that's always one of my suggestions. It's also got a sister resort called Port Orleans Riverside, which is the total opposite end of the scale. There are massive lakes there, and it's probably a mile and a half walk around the lake. So your room, if you wanted to go swimming at the main pool, but you don't need to because there's 4 or 5, it could take you a quarter of a mile walk around the lake or across the bridge to go to it. But really beautiful, and really gets you away from Disney and the crazy lots of people and the hubbub there. So that's another one that is one of my favorites. You've also got Coronado Springs, which is my least favorite. I think it's got a conference center attached to it, so it feels very business-like. You'll generally have people walking around with lanyards and suits and things, and doesn't have that Disney feel. It does have the Grand Destino Tower there, which is beautiful. Similarly, in that kind of vein, but we're actually pushing up towards the deluxe resorts now, is Riviera Resort. Riviera Resort, I've heard somebody describe it as a bougie resort. It's very small, it's very compact, it's very exclusive. Now, I'm a member of D23, and I've got a Disney Vacation Club. I'm an annual pass holder, and I can pretty much get into any resort at Disney with one of those cards, or all 3 of them. But not at Riviera. Riviera have got a strict residents-only parking policy or dining reservation, because they say their car park's too small. I don't believe that. I don't believe for a second Disney designed a resort on the 47 square miles that they've got at Walt Disney World to actually not have enough parking spaces. I think they're trying to keep it bougie and elite. Do go and have a look at it. Easiest way to get there, if you can't get past the guards, and I wouldn't even try, frankly, park at Disney Springs, hop on a bus from Disney Springs. It's 10 minutes on the bus. It's really worth going and have a look around. They've got a beautiful coffee shop. It's really French and European themed. It's quite a home from home, potentially, with European architecture. So that's a great one to go to. Then up to the top tier, and I've probably missed a few along the way, but the top tier is the deluxe resorts, and these are also with the deluxe villas, which is Disney Vacation Club. And now you're at the top end of resorts, but as everything, there's some layers here. Start off with Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom, one of my favorite resorts. It's got two parts. It's got the main Animal Kingdom, and then it's got Kidani. In both of those, you can actually sit on your balcony if you get a savannah view and look out as giraffes and warthogs and things go past the windows of your hotel room of an evening. Clearly safely gated away from you, but it's a really beautiful place. A full-on African feel. There's drums there, really amazing. Little tip, if you do want one of those and you don't want to pay for a savannah resort, before you check in or when you check in, smile sweetly, be polite, and ask the cast member if they've got any side savannah views. We've had a few of these, and actually there's not a huge amount different between those and the normal views. So see if you can get a side savannah view, and if you're there for a couple of weeks, even say, we don't even mind waiting for a few days. If there's not one available, we'll move in later. Animal Kingdom's probably one of the furthest hotel resorts. Animal Kingdom Lodge, long way out. Closer, though, you've got Wilderness Lodge, which is just on the outskirts of the Magic Kingdom. Very similar to Animal Kingdom, but more of the American West. It's got a great pool, wooden buildings, really, really, really amazing interior. Definitely one to have a look at and to consider as well. You can get a boat from Wilderness Lodge to the Magic Kingdom, so another way of getting around. The next three are effectively the Uber resorts to stay on, because they're on the monorail loop at the Magic Kingdom. And in sort of grades, I guess you've got the Polynesian resort, you've got the Contemporary, and you've got the Grand Floridian. And actually, there's not a lot between them. Grand Floridian is supposed to be the premier resort. To give you an idea of where they are, when you park at Walt Disney World and you go into the transportation and ticket center, the Polynesian is first. Then you go round and you've got the Grand Floridian, that's the pink and white one. And then finally you go round and you've got the Contemporary, which is the modern triangular one. And here's a little bit of a hint, or something that Disney did when they designed it. The hotels are themed so that when you look at them from a certain land, they fit in. So the Contemporary resort, triangular, monorail going through the middle, you see that from Tomorrowland. So it fits in for the Tomorrowland theme. The Grand Floridian, you pretty much see that from Main Street, which fits in with that kind of era. And then the Polynesian, you generally can see that, and it doesn't destroy the view of Adventureland. So it fits into Adventureland and Frontierland and that subtropical feel. These resorts at the top end are going to cost you some big bucks. You're going to be looking about £400 or £500 a night. If you're a Disney Vacation Club member, it's better value, but definitely something to think about. The benefit of being on the monorail loop is, guess what? You hop on the monorail and you're at the Magic Kingdom in 10 minutes. In fact, if you're at the Poly or at Grand Floridian, you can walk in about 20 to 10 minutes. And if you're at the Contemporary, you can walk in 10 minutes. It's literally out of the hotel, 5 minutes, cross the road, 5 minutes into the Magic Kingdom. You can also get a monorail from the Transportation and Ticket Centre to Epcot as well from all of those. So that's why they're the most expensive. They're the original hotels built in 71, thereabouts. But really, really cool, beautiful theming, top end quality in restaurants. In fact, the Grand Floridian has got Victoria and Albert's, which is a AAA, quadruple A Rosette hotel restaurant, so and marked as one of the best in North America. And you'll be looking at $200 to $300 a night per person. So this is a top end resort. But don't be surprised if you do visit and have a look around. And I always suggest that if you see lots of kids, the difference between us and our American colleagues is they'll tend to go for 2 or 3 days, which sort of makes that level of hotel affordable. We go for 2 weeks. I don't know many people that can afford 2 weeks in any of those hotels and everything else. So obviously you can stay out of Disney as well. and there are plenty of hotels and resorts out of Disney. My advice with this is definitely talk to your travel agent. Tell them what you're after. If you want cheapest resorts, cheapest hotels, there are some places 2 minutes outside of Disney which are £50 a night. Perfect, 2 rooms, basic facilities, but you're only going there to sleep. And some people would rather spend that other £100 a night on entertainment. You can then go and look at houses, you can look at various things. If there's a group of more than 4 of you, so if you're 6, 8, 10, I definitely recommend looking at renting a house. We were going to do that a couple of years ago, and I think it was about £4,000 for 2 weeks, which okay is £2,000 a week, but that was for 8 of us, and that's way cheaper than getting hotels. I can't even do the sums. What's that? £300 a night for everybody, something like that. So we've talked about when to go. We've talked about where to stay. Let's talk about how to get around there. When you're in Orlando, well, actually, before I go any further, I see I've got 5 people watching, of which I'm one. If there's anybody there, fancy saying something in the chat, telling me who you are and where you are, and let's see if this chat stream works as well, now that I managed to get the technology working really basically. So I've got 5 people that are watching now. Can I find out who they are? Live chat. I'm going to test that it works. I'm going to just say something to myself here. Hey, David. And let's see if that pops up on my screen. So 5 people there. Tell me about yourselves. Tell me where you are. My one's just popped on, so hopefully you can join in. Find the chat screen and tell me where you are and maybe how long you've been looking at the channel. I'd be lovely to hear from you. Let's go back to talking about how to get around. Loads of ways to get around in Orlando. For me, hey Jade, how are you? Lovely to see you. Thank you for your patience. I'm sorry you've just got me yakking, but I will get this working if it's the last thing I do. I got a load of lovely slides. Hey Nat, how are you? Planning for our first trip in August. Much to learn. All right, really sorry. I might have put you off of August. So if you're going in August, it is going to be okay. Just make sure Factor 50 sun cream all the time. I use P20, which is one that you put on in the morning and it protects you all day. So definitely plenty of sun cream. Get some of those wet towels that you can buy, you moisten them and then you snap them and put them around your neck. And if you're going with kids, make sure you take them out of the sun in the morning. So you go there into the parks till sort of 11 o'clock, go back to your hotel, let the kids have a nap. You can sit around the pool with them while they're having a nap or something, and then go back in about 3 o'clock once the weather's a little bit better. Hey Jade, going to go for the next, waiting to go in the next few years, waiting for the youngest to be a bit older so they can enjoy it. Definitely. I think the youngest really for kiddies to really enjoy Disney, probably 3 or 4. Anything below that, it's going to be really hard work for them and really hard work for you. So definitely a great thing to do. And thanks for sharing. Right, we're getting around. So there's a number of options. You can get around without a car. If you stay on site at Disney, you'll remember I said one of the things that works really well is Disney transport. You can use the Disney buses. You can use the Disney Skyliner if you've got that resort. You can use the Disney boats. And there's a whole set of ways of getting around. And the buses are air conditioned, they're fairly frequent, and they're okay. They're okay. They're okay to get to places, but they're not always so great to get away. Magic Kingdom holds, I think, 40,000 people. When the last show has happened, 40,000 people, maybe 20,000 people want to get the buses. You're going to have a really big bus queue. So I always say to people, when you're waiting till the parks are closing, either watch from the back end of the park so that you can be straight out into the queue of the buses, or book yourself an Uber, a Lyft, or something like that so that you can get your way home quickly, or wait. The park stays open an hour after the parade, after it closes. The shops stay open. If you've not got Lily's with you, just grab yourself a Starbucks, find somewhere nice to sit. There's a really nice, on the right-hand side of Main Street, about halfway up, there's a really nice area with tables and chairs. Just sit yourself there, watch the world go by, wait for the queues to go down, and then go and get your bus. The buses run an hour afterwards as well. Similarly, if you're on the Skyliner, and similarly, if you want to get boats somewhere, be ready for some queues if you're going to wait till park close. So we've talked about Disney Transport. We've talked about Lyft, LYFT, and Uber. You can do that if you're a small party. Most of the off-site hotels do Disney shuttles. You may have to pay for this. You definitely need to keep an eye on the times if you don't miss those. And then the final option is car hire, which is always my preference. So some things to consider about here. You will have to pay to park. You will have to pay to park to go into Disney. You will have to pay to park at your resort, whether that's a Disney resort or a non-Disney resort. Disney parking and Universal parking is about $20 to $25 a day. There's your first gotcha, and probably something a lot of people don't budget for. The second thing is your resort parking could be $12 to $15. Be really, really careful about off-site resorts and parking fees. One of the things that I'm going to do a video about in the future is Disney Springs as an example. If you look at Disney Springs, there are some really, really good deals on hotels. Excuse me, B Resort as an example is a nice hotel. I've stayed there. It's just on Hotel Plaza Boulevard, probably 10-minute walk out of Disney Springs Center, and they will advertise rooms at £90, which looks a great deal. But when you turn up and you try and check in, you're going to get an extra charge. And it can be up to $30 a day resort fee and $25 a day parking. So all of a sudden, you've got an extra £40 a day. So your £90 has gone to £130 a day. Do bear that in mind when you're booking these, that actually you may end up with a much more expensive holiday. That's why I always recommend talking to a travel agent, because they'll explain that to you. The second thing about these kind of resorts is they have different prices advertised everywhere. Now, I'm off to Florida next Friday, and in one of the weeks that we're there, we're staying in a resort in Disney Springs. For a change, we've got the Poly and Animal Kingdom, and we're doing Disney Springs. I looked all over the place to find the best prices, and I had prices ranging from $2,000 to $1,500. I found one that I thought was a good deal. And again, remember, I'm a travel agent. I have access to systems. And it was with Priceline, and did all various things with that. And literally 10 minutes later, I remembered another site that I could look at and could have found it cheaper. So speak to your travel agent and get them to do the running around for you. Not only will it save you all the hassle, because they'll just go, there you go, Jay, there's your holiday for a couple of years' time for you and the kids, and there's where you're staying. They know everything, so you don't have to worry about it. So think about where you want to stay. Disney parking, you pay one parking fee per day, and then you can use that in any park. So if you go to 3 or 4 parks in a day, you only pay to park once. Universal, similar kind of thing, but Universal, you park once and then you just walk around the resorts. So all the things you need to do before you book. My advice is always do some research, get hold of a travel agent. I've been going to Disney since 1984, before Epcot was open, before Animal Kingdom was open, before Universal was open. And therefore, I not only know Disney, I know Florida, I know Orlando, and I know the resorts, and I can get you the right holiday. So when you are thinking about it, get in touch, give me a call. I'll put all the details elsewhere on the site. I definitely recommend you do that. So that's before you go. Now you've booked, you've spoken to me, you've said, David, book me a holiday. I've booked it for you. What do you need to do now? So some things you need to do urgently. Number 1, get your park tickets. If you haven't got your park tickets, you can't do your park pass reservations. And people are going, what's a park reservation? Disney, as part of COVID, restricted availability in the parks and took it down to 25%. And to manage that, they put in a thing called the Park Pass reservation system. What you do is you go onto their system, you book yourself a park pass for each member of your party, and then you can go into the park. If you haven't got a park pass, you're not getting in. So must book your park passes. In order to book a park pass, you have to have a valid ticket. So make sure you get your tickets as soon as you can and book those park passes. Generally, it's not a problem to book them, but when it's really, really busy times, Christmas, I think in the next few weeks there's Memorial Day or something like that. Apologies to anybody watching from the States if I've got the wrong holiday, but it's quite booked out there, and Halloween and Christmas are always booked out. So book your park passes once you've done it. Then start planning. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do is say to people here, here's something that will help you. And yes, it's a clear plug. My Magical Disney Planner. This is a book that I wrote. I'm going to do an update on it soon, but effectively it's 80 pages of planning, gives you advice and guidance on when to book, what to do. And then you can actually start writing down what you want to do, where you want to go, and then you start doing a page each day to plan. Nat, if you're still here, if you want to drop me your details, I'll give you one of these at half price. They're normally £10, but I'll send you one at £5 plus the postage if you're still with us. And this will help you plan your August holiday. So you can have that with my kind regards. Something to consider, and you'll find that on the Disney for Brits website as well. Once you've done all of that, start planning. Obviously, you're going to need an ESTA. Excuse me, an eyebrow. You're going to need an ESTA. An ESTA is your visa waiver. I recommend probably a month before you're due to go, get online, book your ESTA. Make sure you use the American government site. It'll cost you $14. As with everything, you're welcome, Nat. As with everything, there are people out there trying to get money off of you, and I've seen people paid $50 and they don't get anything. So keep an eye on that. In the book, there's a link to where to actually find the right site. Obviously, in times of COVID, you may still need to get tests. Now, I'm hoping when you go, testing will be finished and there won't be an issue. But again, check that out. Speak with your travel agent and find out from them what are the things that you need to do in order to make sure you comply to the COVID rules. We went in November when they opened up, and we did everything properly and everything was a breeze. And I know other people that didn't, and it wasn't. So definitely make sure you've got all your COVID up to date. Know your luggage allowances, know your flight times, and all the other things that you need to do before you go. And plan. This is not like any kind of normal holiday. This is not a wake up in the morning, what should we do kind of holiday. You've got in Disney alone 6 parks: Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, MGM Studios, Disney Studios, whatever they're called, Epcot. You've got Typhoon Lagoon Water Park. You've got Blizzard Beach Water Park. Then when you're going over to Universal, you've got Islands of Adventure. You've got Universal. You've got Volcano Bay. So we've got 9 places to visit without even looking at SeaWorld and Discovery Cove. And then you're going to want to do shopping, and then you want to do eating. And the best thing to do is to plan what you're going to do for those 2 weeks. And again, that's something I can help you out with, or the book can help you out with. I always recommend trying to do a day on and a day off, because you will walk more than you ever imagine in Walt Disney World. We tend to do 10 miles a day, and that's not an unusual amount for us. You can do less, but we walk a lot. So day on, day off, park day, shopping day, park day, shopping day. And if you've had a shopping day and you think, do you know what, I want to go into the parks in the evening and see the fireworks, Enchantment, or to see the Epcot show, you can do it because you've had some time out of the parks. Don't kill yourself, but you will need to plan to do everything. So I've talked about what you need to do before you go. I've talked about what you need to do once you've booked. So before you've booked, once you've booked, I did say I'd answer people's questions. So I've got a few people on. Anybody got any questions for me? What can I help you with? And while I'm waiting for the questions, there's a couple that I'm always not generally asked for. Number one, do I need to plan? No. But I'd never not go there without planning. You've spent thousands of pounds on it. Imagine being on the plane on the way home and suddenly realizing, oh, I didn't get to do Rock and Roller Coaster. So I definitely plan. Do I need an ESTA? Yes. Make sure you do that a month before you go is my recommendation. Do I need travel insurance? Yes, 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 yes. COVID has brought this up more than ever before, but you definitely need to get travel insurance. How long do I need left on my passport? Now, it needs to be valid the day you come home, but I'm a really cautious person. I've put in the book, I originally put 6 months, and I've actually reduced that down to a couple of months. The reason I say a couple of months is after you get back is if you have a problem, nobody wants anybody to have any kind of problem when they're on holiday. But if you do have a problem and you have to stay an extra few weeks, you don't really want the hassle of coming back and not having a valid passport. So do make sure that your passport is valid for a little while. Right, so I've got a question. Top tips for booking restaurants. So if you're using non-Disney restaurants, I think Top Table and things like that work. Bear in mind there are peak times there. The Americans tend to eat earlier than us, so you'll see queues out restaurants at between 5 and 7. When we eat out, us Brits normally eat out 7:30 or 8 o'clock. There generally isn't a queue, so you should be all right off-site. On-site, it's 60 days before you travel, I think. They keep changing these rules. My Disney Experience app or the Disneyworld website, get onto those, tell them where you want to tell the system the restaurant you want to book at the day, and it will give you availability. 60 days out, I think, is when you need to do it. If you're staying on site, you can book 60 days plus the number of days. So if you're staying in Disney for 2 weeks, on day 60, you can actually book that whole 2 weeks. You don't have to do day after day after day after day. So 60 days, do those. Ones that are going to get booked out quickly. California Grill on top of the Contemporary will go almost immediately. It's really high in demand. Victoria and Albert's, again, high in demand. It's a really, really top-end restaurant and hard to get into. You've got Toledo's and Topolino's, which are 2 new restaurants on top of the Riviera Resort and on top of the Grand Destino Tower at Coronado Springs. Also hard to get into. And some of them in Disney Springs as well. But pretty much those are the top 4 or 5 that are tough to get into. The good thing for us is they actually come on stream early in the morning for us. Just Google, what time can I book a Disney restaurant? I think for us, it's about 10:30 in the morning. For our colleagues in the States, that means it's about 5:30 in the morning. So they have to get up early to book their restaurant. We don't. So just Google that and have a look. But hopefully that helps. Be flexible. And you can do walk-ins as well. Everything is now done on one of these. So you can do walk-ins and you can actually try and get those, but check on the app for that. So hopefully that helps. You were going in August, so June, July, August. So check your dates, but be ready to book in June the hotels that you want, the restaurants that you want to eat at, and always mix it up. I'm a massive fan as well of looking at other restaurants. The Art of Animation has got a really cool food court, so they're quick serve restaurant, and even places like the Grand Floridian and the Polynesian have quick serve restaurants, and you can always try your hand at getting in and driving up if you've got your own car and saying, any chance I want to go and eat at the quick serve restaurant. Have the name of it, make sure you've got the name, and the guard's more likely to get in. Or alternatively, once you've done the Magic Kingdom, hop on the monorail or walk to those and just go and see them. So hopefully that helped. Question, what's my top 5 recommendations of places to eat at Walt Disney World? So my favorite restaurant, and it's not as much now because they've changed it. I love Pecco's Bill's Tall Tales in Adventureland in the Magic Kingdom, but not so much these days. The reason I loved it is it's got a salad bar. Believe it or not, I like a salad, and certainly when you've been in America for a while, I just want clean food that's not fried and not salty. No disrespect to my American friends, but certainly in theme parks, it's quite hard to find that. So I would always get a children's meal and then fill up with a plate of salad because they had a toppings bar, which is to top on your burgers. I didn't get the burger, I just had the toppings bar. So that's my favorite. They don't do it yet, and I'm hoping Disney, please, please, please bring that back so I can get my freebie salad. It's an interesting bit of advice there as well about having kids' meals. You don't have to be a kid to have a kids' meal in Disney World. They don't care. And some of the adults' meals are massive. So I would always suggest, have a look at the menu. Maybe you don't want to spend $15 on a quick serve lunch, but you'd rather spend $7. You can get a kids' meal, and even that's a decent size. I think I had chicken dippers at one point, and it was two, this size chicken dippers, or maybe even 3, and some fries and a drink for about a £5, which is good. Other restaurants, love the California Grill. Love to watch the fireworks from the balcony when that's going on. Where else do I like? Cake shops, obviously. I know that there's lots of people out there are fans of Gaston's buns. Now, before you say anything, I'm not being rude. A Gaston bun is a huge hand-sized cinnamon bun. It's about $5. It should serve 2, unless you're like people that I know where it serves 1. Put my hand down now. But that's definitely somewhere to go. I can't think of any other restaurants. I pretty much like all of them. There's a massive variety. So let's have a look. I've got a couple of other questions there. Do you have to book the character meet and greet? Jade, it depends. It depends on the character meet and greet that you want to do. So if they're just walking around the parks, no. If they are a character meet and greet in certain places, like there's Princess Story Hall in the Magic Kingdom and various places like that, you can join a queue. They may have lightning lanes. I'll talk about that in a minute. Often the best way to get a character meet and greet is to do it as part of a meal. The meals will cost more money, and they are still distance meet and greets. So the characters, you can't hug the characters like you used to, but they're quite often the better way. And again, one would hope certainly in a couple of years' time, your family can actually go that, and you can go back to hugging a character. But generally, if they're around the park, no. If they're in the park, you can either get a lightning lane, you can buy a lightning lane, or you can queue. And the other thing is a character meal, which are great to do. My favorite character meal is Living with the Land in Epcot. Really cool, really great food, family style dining, and all the characters come. We did this a few years ago when we went with the kids, all adults, and we had Goofy sitting with us. Mickey came and watched us, and it was great fun interaction and really good food, actually. So my favorite there is Living in the Land. There we go. That's another restaurant. So Danny wants to know where I recommend to stay off Disney property. So here's it depends. We stayed off Disney property last year, and we found an amazing hotel called Aloft, Aloft, which is just off Hotel Plaza Boulevard. So it was 5 minutes outside of Disney. Really cool, really trendy, really lovely rooms. Great happy hour at the bar, 2-for-1 glasses of wine for $7, so $3.50, so £2 a glass of wine. Happy days. Really good food, amazing staff, amazing staff, and just a really nice hotel. So I'd recommend Aloft, Lake Buena Vista. Probably better suited to couples rather than families. When you start talking about families, then you're really looking at a whole number of resorts and a whole different options. You've got Lake Buena Vista Suites. There's too many to choose from. One of the things that I have been suggesting to people more recently is actually splitting their stay between Disney and Universal. Universal have got some really good value rooms that are actually £90 to £100 a night. You're right in the middle of Orlando in Universal Resort. You get to go in early. It's closer to the shopping areas up at Universal. So you could do a week at Disney and a week at Universal. Best thing for Danny really is to give me a call, and I'll put some details at the end, or drop me an email. I'll find out what they want, and then we can find the best place, because it really depends on budget, the kind of place that they want, how many people. With families, I always suggest try and get some kind of suite. So you've got a kitchenette, microwave, fridge, sink, somewhere to eat your dinner, just to keep the cost down. Because one of the things that we do to keep costs down is we have breakfast in our room. So we'll have yogurt, we'll have cereal, we'll have snacks before we go out. And that way we're not spending $30, £25 before the day starts. So what else have I got? My favorite can't miss attraction. Oh, I've got loads. I love Flight of Passage in Pandora. Unbelievably amazing. I never knew that I could feel that on a ride. You're on a can't remember what it's called. On a Pandoran flying thing. Somebody put in the comments what it's called, but you're on a Banshee. There we go. You're on a Banshee flying, and it is just incredible. Smells, water, all sorts. Really, really cool. I love Space Mountain. I love Big Thunder Mountain. I'm really, really looking forward to Tron when that opens. That's going to be in the Magic Kingdom soon, hopefully this year, because obviously everything was supposed to open last year, being the 50th, but hopefully this year. And there's a new Guardians ride as well. I love soaring everywhere, everything, everywhere, every day. Let's have a look. Favorite snack that other people need to try. Well, Gaston's bun is definitely one of them. There's some amazing pretzels. If you look, you'll find a cheese stuffed or a jalapeno pretzel. They're really good. I'm not a fan of the sweet things, to be honest. It's not really my thing. Disney do a thing called the kitchen sink, which is probably about £15, and it's ice cream and more ice cream and more ice cream. Not my thing, but people love it. The hot dogs in the Magic Kingdom, food in Pandora, actually. Now things are coming to me. There's a really good restaurant in Pandora in Animal Kingdom where you can get some great food. And again, unusually, really healthy, really tasty, really fresh. So I definitely recommend going and having a look there. Favorite snack that other people need to try? Yeah, I think pretzels. Pretzels are my go-to, and that's one of our Disney things. And there's a Mickey bar, which is just an ice cream bar, but really cool in the shape of Mickey. Jade asks, can you get a meal plan? Not at the moment, you can't. So Disney previously did meal plans, a Disney dining plan, and there were various levels. And at certain times of the year, you would get them, the Brits would get it for free. Disney have not put dining plans back in place. I've always been a real fan of them, especially when they're free, because it means it's another part of your holiday that's paid for before you go. So I would definitely suggest that. Not at the moment. Keep an eye out for them. When they come, we'll let you know. Again, speak to your travel agent, speak to me, and I'll let you know when they come along. But dining plans at some point. Nat asks, where are the best supermarkets near Disney? So there's a few, actually. Just outside Disney, off of Hotel, say Disney Springs, and this is where I'd show you a map. I haven't got one printed off, have I? Having a look. If I'd have known it was going to be like this, I'd have printed a map off. Right. So you've got the whole of Disney, and Disney Springs is down in one corner. Just off of Disney Springs, there's a place called Hotel Plaza Boulevard, and then you go round to another way, and there's a brand new supermarket there. If you're in Animal Kingdom, where you can cut down a road, and there's some supermarkets there. So pretty much within 10 minutes, depending on where you're staying, there are supermarkets. If you're staying in Disney and you've got a room with a fridge, I always recommend going to a supermarket, possibly on your first day. Stock up with yogurts, stock up with fruit and snack bars, avoid chocolate, put fruit and snack bars. Get the little squirty flavored squashes things that you can buy, so that when you go around the park with one of these, or with water, which you can get, which tastes horrible, a squirt of one of those makes it palatable. Again, save you a fortune. Disney are really unusual in that Disney will allow you, in theme parks, you can take food and water in, and you'll see some Americans taking in big old rolly wheel boxes full of food. Stick a rucksack on your back. You're going to need to keep it with you all the time, but you can take food and drink in with you. Also at the supermarkets, I'd recommend that you buy some Disney goodies. It's going to be cheaper. So you'll see at night time, there's spinny things with lights. Disney will probably charge you £25 for one of those. In a supermarket the day before, probably £10. So you get 3 for the price of one. I definitely suggest those. Simon's just said Dole Whip. Yes. So some of you might have heard about Dole Whip, some of you might have not. Dole Whip is a pineapple flavored ice cream. You can get it from very few places in the world. Disney is one of them. You can buy it in the Polynesian, so you can hop on the monorail. You can also get it in Adventureland as well. And if you really want one, you can actually get alcoholic Dole Whip now, where they'll pop a little bit of rum in it. So that's a great place to go. I'd love to go back to places to eat very quickly. One other place that I really love, it's not really a place to eat, more a place to drink. In the Polynesian resort, there is a place called Trader Sam's. It's a very, very small bar. You'll generally have 2 hours to wait to go in there. No kids. So sorry, people with children, no kids. This is for adults, but it's a great place to go. When people buy a certain drink, and as ever, the drinks are expensive, things happen. You buy one called a Nautilus, you get sprayed with water, the staff go round with that. You buy one that's a Hoa, which is a god. There's a goddess up in the sky that lights up and thunderstorms everywhere. You'll buy something else that's got 2 shots of rum and everybody shouts 2 shots of rum, and they do really cool little bits of food as well. So if you want a really unusual, quirky night out, Trader Sam's at the Poly. If you get yourself a reservation there, you'll be able to park there as well. Conscious of the time, so I'm going to wrap up in a second, but which is the closest supermarket, International Drive, as we're staying at Rosen Inn at Point Orlando? Right. I'm going to have... Can't do it. Straight answer, don't know. There are lots along there. There are lots along the 194. Google is always your friend in America, so have a quick Google on there. I can have a look. Closest to Rosen Inn at Point Orlando. It's not working for me. I might just be killing the stream as well. So if I have killed the stream by doing a Google search, let's see if I can cancel that. Google's your friend on this one, so have a look at that. A couple of other things to think about before we do go, assuming that this continues working. Make sure your phones work when you're in the States. So either be with 3 or some of the other networks that allow you international roaming. Definitely worth having for your sat nav if you're driving. Disney have got Wi-Fi throughout the parks, so don't worry about that, and their hotels, so you can keep your costs down. I'm just taking to have a quick look over here for something. You know, if I'd known the tech wasn't going to work, I'd be so better prepared. Yeah. So that's something to think about there. So Louise, sorry, I don't know the answer to that, but Google is your friend. I'm going to wrap it up now. Thanks for coming on and watching. I'm really sorry about the tech. I will get this to work. I'm one of those people that nothing beats me, so I will get this to work. I think it was Nat. Drop me a note, Nat, and I'll send you a voucher to get one of these to help you plan your holiday. If anybody else wants it, I've got a few left. Finally, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'll pop that up on there and I'll send the details. But that's me, the travel company. So it's d4btravel.com. I'm a qualified Disney travel agent. I've got gold standard Disney training. I can also do Virgin cruises. I've got gold standard there, and pretty much anything that you want. If you want a hotel room in the UK, if you want a rental car, if you want a full-on American holiday or full-on cruise, get in touch. I love this. I love what I do. I love to help people. You can tell I love Disney. And you're not just working with a search engine. You're working with somebody who'll find those deals and plan it all for you. Thanks very much for joining. I appreciate your patience and tenacity. Yeah, Louise, if you guys drop me an email at, let me put something in here for you, David, Disney4Brits.com. So in the comments, I've just put the email address to send me something out. It will pop up in a second. So email me at david@disney4brits.com and then I'll send you an email back with the voucher code that will enable you to buy it for half price, with my thanks for joining me today. I'm just waiting to see that pops up in the stream because I've typed it down here, because I want to make sure that you've got it. Hold on. There we go. Do we need to purchase Magic Band? Quick one from Louise. Louise, let me answer your question. You don't, right? So you don't need to purchase Magic Bands at all. So that's the starting point, but they're great to have. You can now, like everything, do it all on one of these, or you'll get a card when you get your ticket. So you don't need a Magic Band at all. You only have one if you want one, and you can buy them for about $10. If you're staying off site, definitely don't need it. I love having a Magic Band. It's part of the Disney experience. And you can actually do it on your phone now as well. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. See, there's my, hold on, my Magic Band there. And when I click it, somehow it just works. I don't know how to make it work. But that's my Magic Band on there. So you don't need one. Right. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your patience. I will get this working. I might even have a proper go again tomorrow. Otherwise, we're off to Florida on Friday. We're there for 4 weeks. I'll be doing some lives while I'm there. So keep an eye on the channel and keep an eye out, and I'll ask me questions and I'll get answers for you. It's been fun. It's not what I planned, but it's been fun, and I hope I've been helpful. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as our pal Mickey says, I'll see you real soon.